You are listening to Zimbabwe News. Keep listening to Zimbabwe News.
I think this one is an important one, actually.
Yeah. Do you think we can start now?
Yeah, sure.
Splendid, yeah. Well, coronavirus, are we ready? Zimbabwe, are we ready? Our viewers and listeners, we have some of the top stories in the news lately, and one of them, Opamu Chinguri, has been criticized by the Chinese ambassador. And if you jump on Zimbabwe.com, you can see here the Chinese ambassador has responded to her allegations that coronavirus is a result of punishment, or is a punishment or a sanction by God on countries that have put sanctions on Zimbabwe. And earlier on, I was contacting Opamu Chinguri. I called her. She answered briefly. I continued talking, and then she quickly rushed to, before she could answer me, to give her phone to her aide, who then promised that I would get a call back. Up to now, I still don't have a call back there. You're hoping that maybe she'll come and explain herself. Wilbert, have you seen the statement by the Chinese ambassador?
Yes, I've seen it, and I think it is appropriate, and it's a pity that she Zanu-PF leaders didn't have the sense to make such an outrageous statement, because that statement was completely, you say to yourself, I mean, at least she should know the problem actually started in China. So is she suggesting that the Chinese are also being punished by God? And worst of all, if we have the coronavirus outbreak in Zimbabwe, what will that mean then? Are they going to come back to us and tell us it is God punishing Zimbabweans? This is complete. This is a regime that honestly.
When we had our earlier coverage in the afternoon, there's someone who commented there, and she said that the coronavirus is, and they believe it's already in Zimbabwe, Itoripo right now. But then, what's happening is Zanu-PF is withholding the statistics, they're suppressing the statistics, they're distorting the statistics, and the reason is they just want to make a statement to the Western government. That longo kungoita attack Donald Trump and the EU and all sorts.
I can't think of anything more irresponsible than that. Because the other thing is, when somebody makes a statement like that, they've got to say to themselves, this must be a regime that honestly is not taking the threat of the virus seriously. We now know that there's been cases in South Africa. And we cannot deny that we have got foreigners and people, and even Zimbabweans themselves also traveling from the Far East, from China into Zimbabwe, and the other countries, Korea and so forth. Zimbabweans are probably one of the most dispersed people in Africa in terms of the amount of traveling that they do. So it's most likely that we will probably have an outbreak in Zimbabwe. And the regime is not taking it with the seriousness and the urgency the matter demands.
Well, Wilbert, 2 weeks ago, I said to the government of Zimbabwe, when they announced that someone would traveled and they said this individual, I believe, was a Chinese person who died. Okay, they said this person was breathless. They became breathless, and the symptoms were, in my view here, were clearly pointing to coronavirus. And you know what I asked them was, you're saying this person has died. You're saying they tested negative.
You are listening to Zimbabwe.
You're not declaring what exactly killed them.
Keep listening to
The
Zimbabwe
symptom
News.
that they had there, the two symptoms that they had, were clearly pointing to coronavirus, according to what's been described. Now their test, which they said it matches the World Health Organization guidelines, it said negative. And now today, Wilbert, we're getting here cases that are now coming one after the other. Like these two classic ones. A person travels from China, gets into our country. Yeah, Wilbert. They were tested positive while in China. And then we give them their certificate of being negative. What did we use? And then another person leaves Zimbabwe, okay, as a tourist, British tourist, travels back to the UK, having been tested negative while in Victoria Falls. So, is it not right, Wilbert, that coronavirus, it's now there in Zimbabwe right now? Let us tell the truth, Wilbert. Let us face here. Tell me, you telling us spade, coronavirus ayimo ere muno mu Zimbabwe?
Oh, this is what is so worrying, you know, and I think this is one of the things that will cause the people to panic, because if you stop believing and trusting what government tells you, that becomes a problem in itself.
All right, guys.
Because then
thank you very
people
much for watching. If you're new
will
here,
start
please hit the red
acting
subscribe
on their
button.
own accord.
If you enjoy what
You
see,
hear
please
this
share with your
is
friends to see where you
It's
just
like what happened in
Thank
West
you.
Africa when
Peace
the
out.
Ebola outbreak, where people were being stigmatized to the when you have or even if you show the signs of the disease, you hide because you're afraid that you'll be seriously, you may even be stoned to death, so that you can be properly tested, properly attended to, and properly isolated. That is what is the problem here.
Wilbert, you know, Melusi Chambuka says the Harare residents, if you suspect to have coronavirus, call 922 for SIMAS ambulance. They are not supposed to make you pay even a single cent because the United Nations is backing them for corona. They will take you to Wilkins Strait. They will disinfect your home for free. Your samples will be taken for testing. It takes 2 or 3 days. Everything is UN managed. They've pitched their facilities there. But don't you think here, Wilbert, I think we have to end on this note, which is crucial. Wilbert, can we trust the World Health Organization after what we have seen, these two classic cases? We have a World Health Organization official who said that Zimbabwe is zero COVID-19. That's what they said.
Well, if they say it's possible that they were relying on what the government officials were telling them, because some of these things, the World Health Organization will have to rely on the government to tell them.
Right.
And we know we have got an extremely secretive regime where they want to give a false impression. They want to give the impression that they are totally in charge, that nothing is out of control, when the reality is something totally different. This is what is so tragic about Zimbabwe.
But Wilbert, we could connect more. We need to engage the UN here, because there is a statement which seems to show a level of ownership by the UN. of that position, not just like they just picked it from the Zimbabwean side, but literally them owning, them declaring that they're verified that Zimbabwe is zero COVID-19. So I think it'll be crucial. And let me send you that statement, Wilbert, and I hoping maybe midday tomorrow we can engage the UN directly.
It would be good to find out from the UN where they got that information from. How certain are they of that information? Because this is what is at stake here. If we are going to say that Zimbabwe is free of the virus, we want to be assured that you've actually done your homework, not just be regurgitating what Zanu-PF has been saying, because this is a regime
I think heads must roll with it. I think heads must roll. Yeah, human life is at stake, and you can't have a body that is funded by governments international and is respected here, backing such a brutal, reckless, and utterly, I don't know what word to describe the level here of what could easily be described as murder as well, culpable homicide.
I agree. I think in this particular case, if there is already an outbreak, and the UN was expressing that opinion without, solid evidence that there's no outbreak, that is irresponsible. And that is one of the things that even the UN itself should be aware of, that we are dealing with here with a regime that has the habit of saying one thing, which is totally different from the reality on the ground.
Wow.
And this is what is so worrying about Zimbabwe. We are being assured that the country is well prepared for it. Simba, I don't think they've got the ability to test any of those casualties. We have heard in one case that they tested them and they test negative. And yet, on another report, we hear that Zimbabwe does not have facility to test. They will take samples and then send them to South Africa for testing, then wait for the results. So in this particular case, which is which? Do we have test kits to carry out the test? Even on Wilkinson Hospital, where I've heard reports saying Zimbabwe has got the facilities to keep people with coronavirus at that hospital, when in reality it was an infectious disease where the facilities are not meant for somebody with coronavirus. They've got to be better kitted so that the person attending to the patient do not get the virus themselves.
Wow.
And I understand the Chinese were going to come and help equip that hospital. That did not happen.
Well, can I tell you something about that, Robert? Can I tell you something about that? Because can I tell you something about that Chinese help? The reason why Zimbabwe right now is suppressing figures, is distorting figures, and also they are even deliberately distorting statistics when they are relating to Chinese citizens on coronavirus, is because they were promised. They are feeling indebted to the Chinese for building that Wilkins Hospital and building that Parliament building.
You are listening to Zimbabwe News. Keep listening to Zimbabwe News. Keep listening to Zimbabwe News. You are listening to Zimbabwe.